I was here a year ago with a tumor in my leg, and I couldn't wait to come back here and go for a swim.
It's just being lost, and may I never be found. I'm still out here and I'm still moving along. I'm still wondering. I'm still at it. I'm still keeping on. I'm still wondering. I'm not lost, I'm still just wondering.
This is the first time that I have camped or touched a camera in about 6 months. Once the tumor was removed from my leg, I just hit a wall. It was about a year of stress. Didn't have to be that bad, but it was a long time of just, I guess you could say, unknown. And when the human body is under attack or stress like that, we have cortisol and adrenaline that helps us get through it. And once the threat has gone, then it's called the letdown effect. And in my case, I was burned out. Once it warmed up a bit, I flew back up to Montana, grabbed my rig, headed down to Jackson Hole, and I'm going to pick Priscilla up in Salt Lake. Feels good to be back on the road. We were heading to Overland Expo in Flagstaff and wanted to see some of the countrysides. I love showing her some of my favorite places and checking items off her bucket list. So we swung by the Arches, Horseshoe Bend, and some of the amazing sights that southern Utah has.
This is so pretty.
Yeah.
Dude, the sunsets have been epic here.
I know.
We're just kind of like live. We were answering a lot of questions from online about filmmaking, coffee, travel. So we just figured we'd do it in podcast form. And so whenever we got to a campsite, we would just set up and film. And this was an amazing sunset. So we just recorded for a little bit and then cooked some dinner and just called it a night. Because the next day, we were going to have a hell of a drive. So we got to Flagstaff, and it was Overland Expo. Got to see a lot of friends, and keep going on the podcast.
Started snowboarding and started filming, and I bought a GoPro, and a friend gave me an old Macintosh computer that had like the kind of colored back, translucent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That era of desktop.
Where are the files?
Yeah, the files are in the computer. Oh. Yeah, that exact computer.
Yeah.
After a busy weekend, meeting a lot of people, serving a lot of coffee, speaking, and really battling the car in things, we went to Sedona to relax and then headed down to Lake Powell to meet up with our good friend Rachel and Fado.
How do you say good boy?
Yeah, there's not really a translation for good boy.
Good boy, really?
We woke up the next morning to what we thought was just going to be an epic day because it was so peaceful and we were just enjoying ourselves, but it didn't last for very long.
Well, if it's not terrible sand, it's terrible wind.
Yeah.
We are not happy campers.
Not today.
There is sand everywhere.
Yeah, and I lost an awning.
Completely lost the awning. It's back there. I mean, there it is.
It was kind of satisfying to rip that piece of shit off. Twice this week that it's pissed me off.
Yeah, we are pretty miserable right now. We are very miserable. Happy to leave this spot.
We spent that afternoon vacuuming out the car, and this was beginning to be a bit of a pain point. This was an old build. There's two of us in here now, and it was just janky. So I was starting to really think about what I needed to change there. So we had a design before I took her to the airport. I was going to stay on the road, and even though I thought I was feeling better, I found that I was still in a pretty bad funk.
Father Ocean, hear my song. You're the wave I was made from. Take me back to where we once began. Ocean Father, I was wrong. Years I followed just the sun. Now I see your darkness holds the key. Close my eyes and I begin to see.
The year was halfway over, and I didn't feel like I was really making any progress. Plus, there was a growing tension between Priscilla and I with where we were going to be. She was in Texas, I was on the road, and was going to end up in Montana, and that was really starting to pull at me.
I heard your voice last night. I laid it all out. I put it on the line. I don't know how it felt, but it sure as hell felt right.
One of my favorite spots, so I like to stop here, always hang out, kind of take it in, film as much as I can, take some photos, whatever. It's a good spot here, Northern California coast. So I'm gonna keep heading north and get to Overland Expo here in about a week.
I will this. I should be. I can't bear this. I can't. I will bear
One time I played a song for my grandmother on the guitar, and she asked me, "Have you committed that to paper?" And I thought that was fascinating because I hadn't written down any music, where she would play the organ and had done that for decades. So I think sometimes writing is therapeutic because it forces you to face things that you haven't yet wanted to commit to paper, that you have to then see. So this was a time where I tried to do as much of that as possible, to just move to the next thing.
I took the last few days to just kind of walk around, listen to music, write, edit. This is part of something I've wanted to do for a few years now, is just sit here at the coast and really just take my time. And so it's kind of the first time I would say all year where I've been able to slow down in a way that I want to, because I've been slowing down, but it was more like forced. It was like burnout, and you got to get stuff done and put things off that you want to do. So this time I was like able to pause for a second, say, what do I want to do? Like, what do I really want to work on now that I've gotten caught up to a degree? And I can say I'm going to take a few extra days to just like think and be slower. That's been a really nice, kind of a nice therapeutic element of all this. But so it's been nice to be able to do that, and hopefully something creative comes out of it. I mean, this video, just the fact that I'm able to work on a YouTube video is something that'll be rewarding for all the filming and editing I have done, and don't feel like I really have much to show for it. So here we go, and then gonna keep moving up the coast and hopefully be able to piece the storyline together a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some dinner and reflect on the day.
We were standing in the freezing rain. Honey, how could I forget? In the distance were the warning bells, but I knew that you.
I made my way up the coast and got to Bend, ready to finish my car. And right when I was working on the final touches, I found mold in the flooring and had to redo the whole thing again. So I spent several days just cutting new wood, sanding it, staining it to try to prevent any other liquid problems. And then when I got to the show, I spent another just like 12-hour day just trying to get this thing ready so I could show people, because that was another reason I was there. And so I got it to a place where it looked semi-presentable, and I was able to share the story and the harsh realities about this lifestyle. And you know, if you're gonna work and do stuff out of your car, you're gonna have a lot of time spent working on it. That's part of it, and we do it because we love it. And these shows are great because you get to see a lot of folks you see only a couple times a year. So Priscilla and I just enjoyed ourselves and headed to a special place where we just kind of wanted to pause again for a minute and hang out before we headed home, and I was gonna have to head back up to Montana.
So I just cut this by hand. I've done all the big cuts with just at like Lowe's and Home Depot, and then hand saw for the rest, just so I could cut something. It's not ideal, but it's kind of like a labor of love. So I could get power tools, but I just didn't feel like messing with it because I don't. Kind of building this as I go, so the cuts are kind of sporadic. So that's the biggest cut for today. So everything's pretty easy from here, I think. Been doing it all by hand, just because I haven't wanted to mess with power tools, getting those. It's been sporadic. I want them to do this, so I just have Home Depot and Lowe's make the big cuts, and just gotta make sure my measurements are good.
Now
this just kind of slides in and got a little angle there, and this is going to be the floor. And going to build shelving and stuff here. The idea is to just anchor this down.
At this point, I felt like I was just on a marathon, but on a hamster wheel at the same time, and I was getting really upset with myself because I couldn't find the beauty in things like I used to. And that's why mental health is so important, because even though I was exactly where I wanted to be, my mind was elsewhere, and I just didn't feel like I had recovered yet. I was still trying to get back, which, made me upset at myself because I felt ungrateful. But finally got the car done, and it's time to enjoy it with Priscilla. The summer was over and the year was coming to a close, but I felt like I hadn't really moved the needle. I was working on a lot of the same stuff I was the exact same time last year. So I personally was frustrated. And there was a lot of tension between Priscilla and I as far as where we were going to live. She was in Texas, I was in Montana. And some big changes were going to happen moving forward. And so I just wanted to finish this year strong and make sure there was no questions moving forward.
I know you've been distant lately, breaking your promises daily. It's been a while since you and I, the secrets that you hold are tearing up your soul, 'cause I see underneath. Feel you drifting slow, with no place left to go, but you're not out of reach. You can count on me. You can count on me. When the darkness surrounds you, I'll be somewhere to run.